Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Simply Redstone. I'm Howie.
And I'm Rick, and we're glad to have you back. Basically, today we're going to delve into a little deeper detail on comparators. They're an amazing thing, and we can't cover everything today, but this is probably more specific to the actual filter we showed you in the last episode. So we're going to show you how the comparator takes a signal in and use it in various ways and adjust signal strength.
Yeah, understanding the signal strength of redstone is one of the fundamentals of building a lot of machines. So once you really grasp that, you can build much more complex machines with switches, etc., and using daylight sensors. And once I started to understand this, so much of it started to make that much more sense to me. It was like a light went on. I started to get it. So hopefully we can explain that to you in a way that will also make sense to you guys. So we'll head back inside and we're going to take a look at the various blocks that can output a redstone signal. So let's head inside. All right, so one of the things that we talked about in the last episode is how various items that, like a furnace, a dropper, a dispenser, and a hopper, when items are inside them, they're actually powered. So a really good way that you had explained to me was that if you have a comparator next to an item, if I go into F3 mode, we'll see that it's where it says powered, it's false. And if we look at the redstone signal, it's 0. Okay, so right now we can see that we have no power. Our comparator says that it's powered false, and we have a power of 0. So if you put some items in, Rick.
32.
Okay, and we've got a power of 3.
64.
Got a power of 5.
32 more.
96. Okay, and we have a power of 8.
And then it's full at 128.
And so we've got a power of 10. So the maximum that you can have out of a furnace then is a power of 10.
Sorry. Which is useful, but sometimes you need more power, so
we can head over to a dropper and we can put some items in there.
64.
Okay. Power 2.
2 stacks.
4.
3 stacks.
5.
4 stacks.
7.
5 stacks.
8.
6 stacks.
10.
7 stacks.
11.
8 stacks.
13.
Okay, and 1 shy of 9 stacks.
14.
And when you fill it up,
15.
so remember that if you want a power of 15, it's all the way full, but if you remove even one of those, then you drop down to 14. It has to be completely full to get a power of 15. Spencer's going to work exactly the same way as a dropper in this situation.
Okay.
Would you like it to demonstrate? I'll put them in quickly.
Yeah, go ahead. So 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15.
Would you like to see how the power progresses out of 5?
Yeah.
Okay, first one.
So we've got a power of 3,
Second,
6,
third,
9,
fourth,
12,
and at last.
15.
If you're very careful mathematically, instead of putting in full blocks, you can use half blocks and quarter blocks and exact numbers to get a progression from 0 to 15. So you can get any signal you want.
Thank you, Vanna. Okay, so here what we're trying to actually demonstrate is we have a chain of hoppers going down, and we have a chain of hoppers going across. And the progression of hoppers would be normally straight down. So we have got nothing in the top, got nothing in the bottom, I've got nothing on my sleeve. Okay, Rick, if you could put something in the top hopper. We've got nothing there. And so
32 blocks.
Perfect. So we can see that everything is now flowing into that bottom chest. And we're at 32, done. And the chest off to the side, there's nothing. So unless the hopper below is locked, everything's just going to continue straight down.
Essentially what Howie's telling you is that there's a priority, and the priority is always down, which makes it very useful in many machines. When you set up your hopper chains and you put hoppers underneath them, you can rely on the fact that unless you change the signal, lock a hopper, or affect it, but it's always going to go down first and then across, and that's really important when you're trying to work with them.
So in this case, to demonstrate how to lock a hopper, so I've got a couple of redstone lamps here. So when we put our torch on, you can see that it's powering the block above. Since that's powered, this hopper now is locked. So Rick's just put a whole bunch of items in, and are they going in the bottom? No, they're not. They're going across. Because this hopper has been locked, it's basically like removing it from that hopper chain. And so now it goes straight across. Okay, so when we were setting up this demonstration, Rick and I were going through using some powered blocks, and a topic came up, and that's the difference between a strong powered signal and a weak powered signal. So in this case, if we look at, we've got our redstone torch and it's powering that block, and it's locking that hopper. But if we put items in here, let's see. Sorry, actually, in that one. They're flowing into that chest. That's not locked, even though we have a signal coming to this redstone lamp. So I asked Rick, why do we have a redstone lamp being powered, or it appears to be powered? And Rick was explaining the differences between being activated and actually being powered. So why don't you walk through and explain over here, because you just did a great explanation of what's the difference between weak power and strong power.
Well, essentially, it depends on the source. So in this case, we can run a power source into the block, and this will light up the redstone lamp because the lamp is powered, but it's a weak powered. You see, it's not getting signals from anywhere else.
Right.
But you can alternate that and make it essentially what you do in this case is power the block itself. Now it will pick up power from any input. The alternative on a weak powered source is you can choose which directions pick up the signal by adding a repeater. The repeater is capable of picking up that weak signal and boosting it.
Right. So you've got your repeaters basically behaving like an amplifier.
That's what it is. Anytime a repeater gets a signal, it boosts it from whatever it is back to 15. But you can also pick the signal up with a comparator, which can be very useful. This lamp, and it's being powered from above, but it's a weak power. It's not able to extend that signal. It's just it's activating the block, and that's all. However, the one above it is being strong powered. I can demonstrate that if I can correctly hit this. You'll see down here, the comparator is not getting a signal.
Correct.
But up here, it is getting a signal.
Yep.
There's enough to take it out. So
if we take a look here, we can see that the comparator says that it's powered, true, and here it says powered, false.
So hopefully we can go more into this in the future when it makes a difference, but the difference between strong power and weak powered can be really important in certain machines. It has both drawbacks and advantages, but it's a little trick that you can take advantage of and use it to solve some problem.
So when we take a look at this hopper, we have 4 named items, and then we have the item that we would want to flow through. And every time an item is being added, it increases. It flows through, it's powering the comparator, and our signal continues down till it powers that repeater. When that repeater powers, it then unlocks or turns off the redstone torch, which is then unlocking this hopper and allowing the items to flow down and then across.
Your control hopper allows it to flow at a measured pace. It opens up long enough just to let one item go through, and that's what gives you the ability to control your small machine.
So here we are on the ImpulseSV server, and we wanted to show you the practical application of using redstone powered at different strengths, and in this case to achieve a signal off a daylight sensor, but before it actually becomes night. All right, so when we're looking at the daylight sensor here, we've got a power right now of 14, and we have our comparator in subtraction mode. We've got a dropper that the total output signal is 8. So this is 14, and we look down here and we've got a power of 6, which means that this will unpower before this drops all the way down, which means that this will then turn off before it's completely night.
Okay, here's an example of where we're trying to show you how these things work in the real Minecraft world. And what happens here is if somebody sleeps, this daylight sensor never gets low enough to go off. So what we're doing is we're subtracting 8 from the power. That way the daylight sensor, even though it never depowers completely, the signal shuts off anyway. So by using this little thing here that Howie showed you where you fill this up with stuff and make a signal into a comparator, we're showing you how that signal can be used in a subtract mode to shorten the time that it takes to be nighttime.
So you can have something shut off before someone sleeps and then resets it, because that way it would never actually truly reset.
Yeah, that's the problem. If they sleep, it never drops low enough for the machine to go off, and then it never triggers back on. It's just always on.
And now we're joined by special guest and friend Mobius Fett as we explain the item sorter at Rick's base.
So I figured out that with this items filter, you can put in like, let's see. So 41, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the comparator puts out a signal of 3 once the hopper reaches 46 items.
Right, okay.
So that's why you got 4 and then 41. So I found out, like, for, say, like the log shop, for example, instead of 41 diamonds sitting in the hopper for the filter, I have 1 diamond and then 10, basically 40, 44. So I got 11 each of the item filter objects.
Oh, I see what you're
In
saying.
the hopper. So that way, that way, if a second diamond comes in the filter, it'll still give out the same signal and behave the same way.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're only using the 1 diamond, and then you're
Right.
using 10 of the other blocks.
So that way you can get like cheap item filters for rare, or I guess valuable entities.
If you use more than one item, more than one named item, the signal gets too strong and it can easily overflow. Yeah.
So do named items have a stronger signal?
No, but if you use more named signals, named items, when, let's say, all these chests fill up, then when the item you want starts to fill up and gets full, then this signal is way stronger than 3 and stays on.
Oh, I see. And then it'll overflow.
Yeah, then it screws up all the other.
So
All right, Howie. So never mind. So that would
no.
only work for a single item filter, I guess.
or as you were saying, if it was a vending machine, because it's not like you're going to get that
Right,
many
right.
diamonds.
It's
Works
not
very well for those.
Right.
This is what Impulse meant it to be, as a sorting array, and they're tileable, and it's the exact same filter over and over again, filtering different items, and it's just another real world use of what you were showing them.
Yep. And this is
Real
this
real
is,
Minecraft world.
Yep, this is on a real Minecraft world, and if you look from below, you can see. So there's the ones that are powered, this one's not. So Rick and I want to thank you for joining us as we explained how various blocks can be powered, and how the signals can be different, and how you can use those and apply those in the various machines. So until next time, I'm Howie,
And I'm Rick.
and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.